Establishing connection. Incoming transmission from Echelon.
All right, guys. Welcome to the June Town Hall. We're going to have a nice little brief discussion here from community members talking about our Grassroots initiative, some events using the tournament or the Versus app, and maybe a few short product updates as well, and maybe some discussion after that. So first, let me just lay the groundwork. So we are joined today by several community members. We have Mookah from the Parallel team, who's going to speak with some of the Grassroots organizers. Jason Florent is here, who'll be doing Monday Night at Parallel, talk about that. We got our friends from Paragons and Exile also here to share about some of the events that they'll be doing and some of the ways they'll be utilizing the tournament app. So just as a refresher, the Grassroots Initiative is our kind of closed beta release of the tournament app or the Versus app. And that is what the leagues uses for tracking management, checking in, validation of decks and everything else. And so we are getting one step closer to kind of opening this up more to the community. To start that off, we have partnered with 5 different folks. We've got Big Ticket Productions, we have Jason Florent here, Paragons here, Tilt Academy and Excelsior. I think that's everybody. I might be missing one. Hope not. And so we're just going to have them talk about what they're doing, share a little bit more about how that will work out, outline some of those opportunities for the community members, but just kind of, again, highlight how this Versus app is coming to life and ways it'll be used. So I'm going to invite up Mookah to take over and start talking with the Grassroots organizers. And so Jason, Paragons, who we got from Paragons? We've got, I think, Tony from Paragons, right?
It's me, right?
Hello, yeah, everybody. That's right. And we got Bad Guy and Bounty from Exile, and Jason on his own behalf, kind of with Parallel Stats with his thing. So, Mookah, do you want to do the chat here? I see you're part of the agenda here.
Yeah, sure.
I can jump in here. I think Mookah's spot is just to sort of speak to or respond to the sort of general sort of casual play on the studio side. But yeah, we were just going to take turns going through each of the events, and we'll go through that. Maybe before we jump in, I can provide some product updates on the Echelon side so that I can stop sharing screen and we can focus on the individual events. So if you see my screen here, the first piece is some of this Grassroots stuff is tied together with the release of this Versus app, which most of the community knows as the tournament app. We're going to be rebranding it. And yeah, this will be coming out soon. It'll have proper monetization, and the Grassroots organizers that have been selected will be able to spin up their own events, their own tournaments, and sort of use it to provide sort of like a tournament experience that are separate from leagues. Currently, it's mostly league-based. But I'll play this video here. One of the feature requests that I think a lot of the league players have been requesting is just seeing their league points within the actual app itself. And so we're adding that. We're also adding tournament history. So this will be coming out very soon, and hopefully it'll sort of get some more sort of non-sanctioned tournaments for the community to participate in. Now I'm going to switch over to some other stuff that we've been cooking on, and we've teased a bit, but we've just got to sorry, let me just share a piece here. So I think a while back we shared some oops, 1 second here. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, okay, yeah. So a while back we had shared basically a profile service that allow community members to sign in and then tie into all these existing syncs as well as the tournament app itself. What we're expanding on to sort of promote not only sync usage and provide more things for the community to do is we'll be introducing some new concepts such as prime score. So this will basically be a recognition of like prime spent within the ecosystem, and you'll be able to be rewarded for this sort of like overarching score as a measure of your participation into the community. With that, we will have a sort of a mission system or a battle pass system where you'll be able to complete particular sort of missions relative to the syncs. And as you sort of progress within the battle pass, you'll be able to unlock these rewards. So it could be a reward relative to games coming up. There'll be sort of one reward where it'll be a prime rebate, and then we'll be giving out these multi-passes through this battle pass or mission system. And then, so those are the sort of more, I guess, like concrete rewards. I think we also want to explore, or we will explore, rewards that are sort of non-monetary as well. So we'll also be introducing badges. These badges will be relative to, I guess, those different streams within the ecosystem. Prime sort of like primers or prime spending players. So if you are achieving certain victories, you'll be able to unlock different badges. And then if you're collecting, you'll also be able to receive badges. I think the cool thing about the badges that we'll be implementing is that these will be badges designed by the community. So we are creating a framework where the frames will be set by the platform, but let's say every season these badges exist, we'll have an open design call for the community to design the badges, and then we'll have a bit of a slight rev share for those designers. So when community members complete different missions and collect their badges, these are minted, and those would be sort of shared proceeds to the designer as well as to the syncs. So yeah, we're really excited for this. It's been a long time sort of coming. I think it's just, we've had the profile system sort of under works for quite a while. We're nearly there. And I think what we wanted to do before we did the full release is to have things that people could do on that profile system. So we've sort of held back on the stuff, but we're very close to getting all the stuff out, hopefully in the next couple months, so that we can really kick off a lot of these different programs that we've been building on well over a year now. So yeah, excited for that. Okay, so with that, I'm going to return back to the sort of schedule for Grassroots, and I'm going to call up, I think the first on the docket is Jason. Jason, if you want to go through your event, I'll stop sharing screen here. Jason?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to find the mute button. Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you great.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, I'll make this short and sweet. So the Grassroots initiative or tournament series that I put together is one that's directly ported from Legends of Runeterra. It was one of the original really popular tournament series that we had there. It was called Fight Night. In essence, what it is, it's 8 of the top players coming together every week to play a double elimination tournament during the week, probably Thursdays. There's sometimes, if there's like a really stale meta, we'll do things where maybe a certain cards or certain, in this case, paragons would be banned to make the viewing experience a lot more interesting. And to also make the playing experience more interesting and give the players kind of a unique format to play for the weekend. There'll be prizes for the top 2 players. and the winner each week gets to carry on to the next week, which makes for some really fun kind of storylines and story arcs as people sort of come in and go. There's some people that stay on for multiple weeks at a time. And I guess the other question that people typically ask is how do you pick who gets to play? And so the way that we did it at Legends of Runeterra is we kind of just had an open, and that we'll be doing it here, is that we'll have an open sort of application process, and typically we'll look at things like ladder finishes, tournament finishes, leaderboard points in the current league, and then definitely skew it somewhat towards the most recent tournaments. So like if you just won a tournament like the last weekend, you're like almost a shoo-in kind of thing. And yeah, it just ends up being a lot of fun. We'll obviously cast them. It's fun for the community. It also is something for players to kind of look forward to bring the community together. And it helps bridge from weekend to weekend the kind of major tournaments from the actual league. I think that's most of it in a nutshell. Am I missing anything?
No, I think that's good. Do you know when you'll start this circuit?
Yeah, I mean, we're more or less ready to go. So probably in a couple weeks, as soon as we kind of get the green lights from everyone and everything's good to go, we're ready to start. I think there's maybe some thought to be put in with the new set rolling out in August, making sure that we kind of overlap with that, since the funding that we have maybe goes for about 6 to 8 weeks. So probably start sometime in July.
Sounds good. Great. We'll take a sort of Q&A at the end, but we'll go to our next Grassroots recipient here. Tony, I believe, is going to be speaking on behalf of Paragons.
Yeah, it's me. Hi guys, thanks for having us. So our tournaments are mostly aimed at the Paragons community, but in fact they're open to everyone. So joining the bond is easy and open right now to all the players. There is no requirements, no need to borrow cards if you don't want to. No, like very simple approval process, and anyone can sign up and take part in the tournament right away. So we see the bond is a way to support and organize like active community members, active players, but we are not limiting access to it. In fact, we are like happy to welcome like any new player, and if they are like just exploring the game or aren't like super active yet, that just doesn't matter. It's just like our way of organizing things and offering players a way to earn prime even outside of those tournaments. All of our events will be open to bond members with like pretty easy sign up form, links shared in Discord and our social media. We'll be helping like new players to get involved, and we'll provide all the info they needed about the game, about the tournaments and stuff like that. And we plan to run our tournaments using kind of different formats. So Conquest, Last Hero Standing, and maybe even more like casual or experimental setups for the beginners, for the new players. This is like really important because like our players are different, and some are like competitive, others like still learning the game, and yeah, that's why like by changing formats we can create like events that fit different like player types and skill levels, and we want everyone to feel like they belong. So we are like the structure of Paragon's Grassroots series is like we're playing a total of 8 tournaments running every 2 weeks, starting in early July. So the whole series will take place across about 4 months, I believe, and we choose this bi-weekly schedule so players have like time to prepare, and especially those like who are more casual, let's say, to getting into Parallel. So yeah, it also gives us time between events to listen to the feedback and make some improvements as we go. And we will kick things off with like special launch event with increased like bigger prize pool, more promotions probably, and hopefully like a lot of energy to start the series like really strong. Yeah, banners, social medias, and I mean social materials, and will be ready by the time we go live. About the prizes, each tournament will have at least 200 extra, $200 extra prizes, at least. Probably even more sometimes. So yeah, we might also add some cosmetic rewards or extras to make like things more fun. Not something like ZFX can play exactly, but like still nice to win. And yeah, we'll see how the community responds and just adjust it if needed. The goal here is just to create the tournaments that feel both competitive and rewarding. So yeah, no matter what your level, you should be like happy with them. So yeah, just big thanks to Echelon team for supporting those community-led events, and yeah, we are looking forward to the kickoff in early July.
Awesome, that's great. That's pretty soon.
Yep.
Excited to see that.
In 2 weeks, probably.
Perfect. Okay, and then we'll switch on to our third speaker. I think that's going to be Legit and Bounty, outlining their bonds initiative.
Good morning. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
My sound. All right. Sweet. All right. So, our tournament style is a little different. So, if anyone's ever watched League of Legends or Dota, we're trying to take that team aspect of it. So, like, essentially, if you've never seen it before, in League of Legends and Dota, they have teams competing, obviously, right? It's like a 5v5. And they do a draft style where they're picking a champion and they're banning a champion. So we thought that like maybe we can do that same thing in Parallel, or maybe have that same type of team and competitive aspect in Parallel. So like we'll do a bond. So since we have this unique scenario with bonds, we have all these different bonds. We can do a bond versus bond type of style tournament. So what it would be 4v4. Each bond takes turns drafting in the first round and then banning in the second round. And they're just banning and drafting paragons. So like say I'm on team 1, I'm starting it off, I pick Sippy, of course, right? And then like the next person they'll pick Kathy, and then we'll go through bans, and then we'll ban Neve, and then they ban Nehemiah, and then you just keep going through the process until each team has each player or each team has 4 essential paragons on each side, and then that will just be the style. So hopefully you'll like create some excitement of like the drafting process, the banning process. I mean, we would like it to be broadcasted. So like it would just be a different style. I mean, essentially it's the same game, right? But it's a different like strategy of like, are we banning paragons that we don't want to see? Are we banning paragons that we want to play, or we don't want to play? Or are we banning paragons we know that they're good, that they're good at, and then they just fight, and so we'd be best of. So each team would just have their respective person play their respective paragon, and then they just match up, and then there would be the winner moves on, and hopefully it would be like anywhere between 4 to 6 bonds if we can get them all together. And that would be like the main big format of it. And then the second format, which even though it's not like professional players, you don't have to be a part of a specific bond, would be like a 3v3 style format where like anyone can do it. So like it'd be a lot smaller scale, and then like that way like the drafting and banning process wouldn't be as crazy in the second format. The second format would just be like tournament wide, maybe we ban Kathy or Seppi. And then in that situation, like it would be more of league points, and I think Bounty can probably explain that one better because I don't understand the race. I don't watch a lot of racing, so the racing formula league points is a little foreign to me. So Bounty could probably explain that version of the format better than I can.
Yeah. So to give a little bit more context, so like a little bit of my like I guess like kind of what somewhat competitive background. I come from like watching a ton of FPS esports, and a lot of those are team based. You have teams of 4 or 5, and it kind of just varies. And kind of like Legit was saying with Dota, they're a team based game. Obviously, naturally, I don't think TCGs like gravitate toward teams based formats, but it doesn't mean it can't exist, right? And I'm sure other games have done their version of it. And so I thought we both thought it would be great to kind of bring that to Parallel. And so kind of like what Legit was describing, we're kind of at a place where we want to choose which format we want to go with, and we want to involve the community in that process. And so, after this town hall, we'll probably post a poll on our account, and we'll share that with you guys. You guys can kind of vote for which format sounds good to you that you'd want to either participate in or watch or whatever it may be. But Legit did a great job of describing the first format. The second format, it's a little bit different, where yes, there's less people involved in the teams. I think the biggest showcase is that it's open teams, so regardless of your affiliation, you can come and play. So maybe you have friends over at YGG that you're not necessarily part of YGG, but you're part of Paragons, and you want to just do something together. Like this is a perfect opportunity to kind of collab in that way and have a good time. With the 3v3 format, it would be a little bit more simple in the sense that, like, kind of like Legit was saying, we probably wouldn't go full in depth with like a pick ban system, but instead it could be the community voting between events of like which Paragon should be banned for this next event, and then we do that, and people then have like a week or two to prepare as a team to decide what they want to bring to the event. But overall, I think like regardless of the format, we're looking probably like at a match format of best of threes. There's going to be a scoring system, so like what matters is how you and your teammates do in their matchups. So like the more you win, the more points you're collecting for your team, and then as a team you get placed on a team leaderboard. And if your team takes first, second, then you're going to come out winning something on that event. And then bigger picture, we want to have like basically a kind of like he was like Legit was saying, kind of like a running total kind of global leaderboard for the teams, where like if your team comes back again and they want to keep competing, well, there's going to be like end of season or end of like league kind of rewards tied to it. So it gives you a reason to keep coming back as a team, to keep earning more points, because you're going to get more stuff at the end of it all. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. We're still deciding. We put at the bottom, coming soon. There's just a couple things we need to iron out, but that's where we want kind of community feedback to begin with. Is what would you guys like to see? What would you like to participate in? And then obviously during the QA, feel free to ask questions about the format or kind of what we're thinking. But yeah, we'd love to see more team play and kind of bring that social aspect into Parallel. And I think this might be one of the best ways to do it. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Bounty. Yeah, this is exciting. I'm definitely a fan of the was it random draft or draft mode in Dota. That was basically my what I played, especially the random stuff. So excited to see how this team format sort of comes to fruition. Awesome. And then last speaker, I'm just going to invite Mookah up here, and maybe to respond to a few of these like grassroots initiatives, or even just sort of outlining a few of the more casual, initiatives for casual play on the studio side, and just sort of, yeah, just hear your thoughts on everything.
Yeah, I can do that for sure. First off, like this is absolutely awesome to hear. I was a community member first before I became a team member, so I got to hear cool ideas like this and to see them finally come to fruition and start to come out. Like that's awesome. TCGs on the digital scale always kind of suffer with like esports being the top end, and then there's like nothing else to really do. If you're like a casual player that wants to get like go into like these tournaments, right? Like Paper has like your local card shop, and you go, every 1 day a week or 2 days a week, and you go play. Like I used to do that a lot with Yu-Gi-Oh! When I used to play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! I'd go to my local card shop weekly. So to have something like that in the digital space, I think is like really necessary. So I love that, everybody here is doing stuff, and I know everybody here on a personal level too. So I'm very happy to see them make strides and do these kind of tournaments. It's awesome. I think we need more of them, and the more accessible they become, the better it becomes. From the studio side, casual play, we've talked about it quite a bit, but to kind of like quickly summarize what we are focusing on, we think new players just need a better flow, better experience of like getting into the game. Our game is not as intuitive for people that have played TCGs in the past. We've seen that with them going through the tutorial and going through rookie mode. Like these modes need improvement. Like that is 100% for sure. So we are making strides to improve our tutorial experience. You'll see some in .66 when that comes out. There's even more improvements coming out for that. That will constantly be improving and constantly be getting better. I think it's like really awesome. We've had community members give us videos of like them showing their friends how to play Parallel, and we've watched them go through the tutorial, and that's given us a ton of good feedback to actually be like, okay, this is a huge pain point. We have to fix this and things like that. So the tutorial experience is something that's constantly under the microscope. And as we get more data and more see where people are falling out or see visually where people are struggling, we can improve those. Aside from that, you're going to see the 1Q that's coming out, right? That's been talked about quite a bit. But basically, it's a huge improvement and overhaul of the rookie queue change. It will kind of like guide you from the tutorial through a series of matches with like AI at first and gradually putting players together and then lead you to like ranked play. But it will be a fun experience. You'll gain rewards after each match. You will gain your paragons. You get to choose your rewards, kind of. It's a very, very like overhauled, fun experience. We think it'll be much, much better than what Rookie Queue is now. I know even when I used to play in Alpha, like getting people to go through the Rookie Queue was rough, and we have barely done any improvements since then. So this is a huge, huge overhaul. I'm very excited for that one. Aside from that, we are trying to help with like card accessibility and just accessibility of the game overall. So we have like welcome bundles that are coming out in the next, I believe it's the next patch. If I'm wrong, then I apologize, but welcome bundles and stuff like that so people can get their hands on more cards faster, better deals, things like that. And on top of that, just making the playboard better. There have been quite a few concerns for new players when they play our game about how the board looks, how cards look, how they feel. So those are all things that we are addressing now. You will see upgrades in the playing field, in how cards look, in how visual effects operate. Like these are all things that we are tackling so that when new players play the game, it's easier to understand what's going on. It's easier to visualize what's going on, and they can have a good time. And then one of the last things I guess I can touch on is that we know that ranked queue is not the de facto favorite for people that play TCGs for everybody, right? We have there's a diverse population of people that play TCGs that don't just want to grind ladder. So one of the things that we have done is that we are working on draft mode. Draft mode has been highly successful in like every other TCG that has done it. And I'm very excited to be working on draft mode. We have some surprises in store for how draft mode will differentiate from normal ranked parallel play or normal traditional parallel play. But we think it'll be a fun experience for new players, especially because they will get to draft decks and learn what the cards do and see them in action without like the daunting experience of crafting a deck from scratch, not knowing what these cards do. You'll be presented, choices at a time to make, and it'll it'll reward high skill expression if you're that kind of player, but for new players it'll slowly get them familiar with cards and how they operate in our game, and give them an ability to grow their collection via draft mode. It will not just have to be through like missions and apparition packs and ladder play and that kind of stuff. So draft mode is one that I am very, very personally attached to and excited for, and I'm very happy that we're working on it. But those are some of the things that from the studio that we are doing to make the casual experience better. And all of that will synergize with these grassroots programs, because once people know how to play, they'll find people to play with, instead of like grinding ladder aimlessly or going to a league tournament and being like, I'm getting, slammed by the Lambies, Manoses, and Jarlas of the world. They'll have a place to go play together. And then from there, the sky's the limit. We'll see. But like right now, we need to hone down on stuff we need to improve that already exist, and then iteratively make new stuff that is fun and cool. So draft mode will hopefully be just the beginning in terms of like other game modes and other features that players can do aside from just the normal traditional queuing.
Awesome. Yeah. And obviously we've heard draft mode teased before, but yeah, I feel like draft mode is just highly anticipated from the community. But thank you very much for that summary on the sort of studio's perspective, Mookah. Okay, I guess with that, we'll move on to Q&A. If anyone has any questions or would like to come on and speak to anybody, I can invite you up. But if you have any questions for any of the events that have been outlined here, please let us know. Maybe while we're waiting for some questions, I guess, like, not to put you on the spot, Mookah, if you were to sort of estimate like a time frame for draft mode, is that something?
I'm laughing with my mic muted. You're just gonna throw me into the fire like that one, huh?
I mean, it's not.
The newest team member is getting asked about timeline deadlines.
I know.
So
my bad.
We have a working functional draft mode, like alpha version, to just proof of concept, like this is how you draft, and we've had people go through the draft experience. We've shown it to a small amount of the community to just gauge their feedback and stuff, and so far it seems like we are moving in the right direction on that front. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not going to give you a timeline, but I wouldn't expect like this year, but we are planning to get it as soon as possible in the next year. This year is very, very focused on making gameplay better, making the new user experience better, making stuff look better. I know the next, this 3-month sprint that we've talked about, right, has been about like gameplay stability, client stability, stuff like that. Following that, you're going to see improvements in how things look. Veen's already going to leak it, so I might as well. Like, we're already talking about like visual upgrades for card effect, for keywords and stuff that need it, and you're going to see more of that stuff. So like that will exist. Like, those are the kind of things we are trying to fix right now, make it better so things look better. They're easy to understand. They're intuitive. Cards will also go through their own kind of like revamp. How do our cards look in game? That kind of thing. Those are all things being touched. So a new game mode will take some time to get it right too. We want to do proper testing. Who knows? Maybe with a public test server, we get to do more cool things. Like, so maybe we get to do an experience with draft mode before it's actually fully released, right? And make it better. I'm a very big fan of the public test server. I think it's a huge proponent for any successful game studio to have a feature like this, where we can put stuff in the wild, and the users that want to go and try it can go try it, give us feedback, and we improve it. So yes, it won't happen this year, but we are actively at work to get it to you as soon as possible. For now, what we are looking on is major improvements to the game as a whole, stability-wise, visual-wise, and things like that.
Awesome. Sorry again for putting you on the spot.
That's okay.
All right. Anyone have any questions? If not, we can. There's one from Jeremy here. To confirm, the public test server will require a separate client download.
It will be part of our existing launcher. As in the first iteration, it will be part of our existing launcher. and it will require a separate download.
Great. Okay. I think we have one person typing, but if not, we can wind this down. We will. I mean, this is all very exciting. Once the events are getting closer, we'll obviously do our news blast. We'll make sure that the community is informed and are able to participate. Tricklemer asks, draft mode is planned to eventually have prime emissions.
I'll just say that we haven't fully explored how Web3 is going to work with draft mode. That does not mean that it doesn't. I'm just saying we haven't fully identified what we're going to do with that.
A lot of tournament options now on top of high stakes and league. How will you manage the schedule to help avoid tournament fatigue?
I can speak a little bit to that. No, Money, you take it, please. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so a couple of these events, so Tilt and Excelsior, those are regional focused in the Philippines. Shout out to those guys for putting those events together. For Jason's event and for Big Ticket's event, it is run during the week. The other thing is, in Mookah kind of talked to it, is you've got about 128, let's call it 150 players who are competing really heavily for league. These events are primarily for people who are not in the hunt for league points. So they shouldn't be experiencing tournament fatigue. These should be tournament experiences for people who really haven't had them. Of course, they can participate in high stakes tourney, but you have a couple of pros in there as well who typically are taking the top prize in high stakes. So this is new offerings for people who really haven't had them before. I wouldn't anticipate it.
Awesome. Are these sorry.
No, I'll just probably add, I think one of the goals, hopefully, that will come out of this is building new communities of players outside of competitive ladder grinding. So these kind of regionalized and kind of format focused and theme focused events, and I know Jason's working with folks, a lot of Legends of Runeterra community and others. I think the goal is to help support new players, give a ladder, a ladder to ladder, basically. Have another tier of gaming and opportunities and competitive play or more casual play for folks playing in the league, but just more options for everybody, I think, is a good thing, and then it allows us to build communities in a better way. So I saw a few people in chat say, it's hard to be sweaty in ranked, and it can kind of sap a little bit of the energy going into ranked sometimes. So hopefully these will alleviate some of that and give different opportunities and a little more community camaraderie as well.
I'll just add one more thing in here, which is, I think that Grassroots and kind of what we've built out with the tournament app also enable this to become functional content updates in a sense, with different sort of event types and styles and bannings. I mean, somebody could choose to do a popper tournament or something that totally is outside of the metagame, stuff like that. And so in addition to sort of providing the base of, the proverbial pyramid, I think it also can help fill the gaps in content from time to time and, help sort of motivated individuals who have good ideas experiment and find new ways to play a game and leverage the IP that we all kind of love, and that's why we're here.
Cool. A couple more questions here. They're trickling in. Lichi Tuti. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Hello, guys. I want to know about draft mode. If you want to do a tournament officially with that mode, And is it a good initiative to take more LATAM public player and pro player? Here in LATAM, there are a lot of players can exploit the game. Like draft mode tournaments, is that what is being referred to?
I don't want to take too much away from the grassroots stuff because I do think this stuff is important. But like for draft mode, I don't know. We don't know explicitly how they will work with like maybe there is a way that we can do it with grassroots tournaments. I'm not going to throw that out. I'm not going to say that is how it will work, but it is something to think about for sure.
Art Crank asks, are these grassroots events going to coordinate with each other as not to overlap and be all on the same night? I think we had some of those discussions. Some of the events are going to be regional as well. Or sorry, some of the grassroots programs are regional as well. But yeah, I think like we can do some coordination between the proponents to outline different nights. So that's a good call out. We've thought about it, but we can try to get a bit more coordination there, so you guys are available to participate when given the chance. Who do I contact if you want to sponsor or toss prizes for these events? You can reach out to us at Echelon, and then we can forward over to the contact for the particular grassroots organizers, or you reach out to them. It's up to you. Any other questions? I think
I can respond to what QFlux is saying about tournaments. People favor people that are already engaged. I don't think that's necessarily entirely true. I've seen some success in other digital TCGs for like new players that have a place to go to that aren't like full on high scale tournaments. Like these tournaments will not incentivize. I mean, with Jason and Legends of Runeterra, if you're asking for specifics, I think that was pretty successful. Finding players that aren't necessarily at the top end, cutting edge, that didn't have issues, that are looking for people to play with, not as such a serious high skill. These tournaments will probably not excite the Jarlas and Lambies and Manoses of the world, so we'll provide more places for people to go and play with each other, and find people to play with and go compete and stuff. Like I did this a lot with other albeit it's not TCGs, but I did do this with other genres of games and had a lot of fun in getting to go and play. I don't think this is like a initiative that will bring the masses in, but it will bring a lot of people in for sure, and have them have a place to go and compete and stuff.
If you want an equivalent, I would say that the Arena Opens, which they run once a month, are a pretty good sort of example of something a bit more casual that happens on a semi-frequent basis. It's like, it's like, it's not quite Friday Night Magic level casual, but it's not going to a Magic Fest or trying to like grind an RPTQ or whatever. It's something that you can sort of do from the privacy of your own home. They also do the sort of like win a box promos. Like I do think Magic Arena has examples in a digital card game of different modes that are competitive, but not ranked ladder and not going and like trying to qualify for the Pro Tour. And I think that they have been successful. Yes, it's online. Like there's every time the new set comes out, they have these like win a box promos that run for like a week or whatever, where you're basically playing sealed tournaments for an entry fee, and if you get 7 wins, you get a box. Once a month they do Arena Opens, which I think typically are sealed, but sometimes they have them in what is it? Constructed, and that's something where it's like, yeah, if you get to 7 wins on day 1, you play on day 2, and then depending on how many wins you get on day 2, you get prized out like actual cash, but it's all something you can do from like your home. How popular are they relative to ladder? I would say, in my anecdotal experience, because I don't have the data, because Wizards is pretty well known to not want to give data out to the community. they seem to be very, very popular. And I think there's some of that is the scarcity of it. Like the arena opens are once a month, and the buy box thing maybe happens once, or like the win a box thing happens once a set. But I also would say, like, at this point, I probably wouldn't expect literally every single first cut of these different grassroots programs to be wildly popular with everybody. Some of this is like, we should try to figure out what are the types of online weekly events that create community and provide, sort of content updates or different ways to play the game, are like which one of those are going to work with our community. See what people actually are interested in and want to sort of like respond to, and then we can sort of kind of double down from there and learn. I don't think like this is something where every single one of these has to like nail it and become like the most popular way to play Parallel at the same time. I think a lot of this is figuring out, like, for example, Jason talking about the stuff that was popular for Legends of Runeterra. Formats like that weren't super popular when I was playing Magic competitively. Like, there's different formats and different ways to play the game that are going to be popular for different card games and different groups. And I think it's, obviously, I think this is smart because this was one of my ideas, but I think it's smart to take a somewhat iterative approach here, try to engage different people that all have different ideas in different communities, and get a sense of sort of what's working and what, and what do we want to double down on from there.
Yeah, a lot of good questions and discussion. I think it's definitely, like we said, some experimentation. There'll be monitoring. We'll be looking at KPIs and performance and trying to figure out what moves the needle and what we learn. So this is why it's initial engagement with a small grant attached. And hopefully we improve the app and the overall experience. So I think if there's not any more clear questions, we'll probably wrap it up unless one of the panelists wants to share a little more. But we can also kill the recording and also just have some more casual conversation as well. So thanks to everybody who showed up. Mookah, panelists, thanks for your time. Everybody in the audience, thank you. We will record and post this, and we will. I think a lot of folks will be broadcasting, so there should be more activity on streams and things like that. So, all right, thanks everybody.